Nick Saban making things official. The contracts have been signed. The ink has dried. The pen has been put to the paper. In terms of David Ballou and Dr. Matt Rhea, both are here. Both are a part of the Alabama football family. News was made official on Tuesday as a press release was given out by the University of Alabama football program. And Nick Saban getting fancy with these titles right here. David Ballou comes in as the Director of Sports Performance. Dr. Matt Rhea comes in as the Director of Performance Science. And the program's happy. The players are happy. I myself, I'm jumping up and down inside. Of course, you, the diehard Crimson Tide fan base, you guys are very excited. And from top to bottom, from the top of the totem pole, that being head coach Nick Saban, the lowest man on the pole, everybody will benefit. Everybody will appreciate having Dr. Rhea and Coach David Ballou in here. They will both have a chance to be special at this program. But for me, if I had to single out one player, if I had to pull out one player that will greatly benefit the most from having these two guys in here, I'm going to go Shane Lee. Shane Lee, the inside linebacker coming into his sophomore year from the Maryland area, the 4-star in the 2019 class at 6 feet, 246 pounds. Now, if we were to solely judge, no, I'm not going to use the word judge. That word is overly too harsh. If we were to solely evaluate Shane Lee for his freshman season just off the data, just off the stats, just off the numerical value, Shane Lee had a strong freshman season. I mean, he put up 86 tackles on the year, which was second behind Xavier McKinney. He led all freshman defenders in total tackles with 86. He had 6.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 1 interception. So through the 13 games he played in, Shane Lee filled out the stat sheet beautifully. I mean, he was a freshman, made the freshman All-SEC team, made the freshman All-America team for the Football Writers Association of America and for ESPN. So in terms of just the numerical data, in terms of just the stats, in terms of the numbers he put up, and when you look at the box score every game throughout the 2019 season, if we are evaluating Shane Lee just off that statistic, off that merit, he actually had a pretty productive freshman season. But myself here, in terms of the media, when you look at Alabama football, of course, you, the devoted Crimson Tide fan, we're not basing Shane Lee off the statistics. When you look at Mr. Lee, despite the year that he had, if you go into the big games, the marquee games from this past season, Auburn, LSU, I guess you can throw Ole Miss as a marquee game, and even some smaller scale games like Southern Mississippi. Two things that we saw on tape, or we saw in the actual games that we were able to partake in and go to, the speed of Shane Lee and the consistent power of Lee, not where it needs to be at, not where it should be at. And case in point, we go back to the Southern Miss game. There was a play in that matchup where Southern Miss, I believe they came out of the shotgun on this play. They snuck the running back out in the flat on like a wheel route, and Shane Lee has to keep up with him, stay with him. Now, of course, granted for him, Alabama was able to get a pass rush on this play. The throw was off. The throw was affected. It was a poorly underthrown ball or a poorly overthrown ball, and the receiver, the running back in question, was not able to make the catch. But as you can clearly see, if you watch the tape, the guy was able to run right by Shane Lee, and Lee could not quite keep up with him. And that's just the Southern Miss game. If that ball was thrown on point, if it was thrown on the button, if it was thrown on target, and if the rush does not affect the quarterback, then that running back in question makes that catch. Then you go to the Ole Miss game. Now, I give Shane Lee the benefit of the doubt on this one. John Rice Plumlee, that boy can run. That boy is 4.4 speed. bucket, 4.4 speed. That guy's a world-class athlete. So I can understand the fact that Shane Lee was having a difficult time keeping him contained, keeping him corralled. Shane Lee was trying to chase the guy around, and John Rice Plumlee not having none of that, just outspeeding Lee to the sideline or outspeeding or out-finessing Lee up the field. But at the same time, when you're used to seeing linebackers that can go sideline to sideline, have that lateral quickness to eat up the field, i.e. the players like C.J. Mosley, Mack Wilson, Rashaan Evans, Reggie Ragland, Reuben Foster, those types of players. And when you don't have that, or when you're not seeing that consistently in a Shane Lee, you miss seeing that type of action on the field. Those guys that can rip the field up, see the play, dissect the play, and take away the angles from these high-powered dual-threat quarterbacks. So the matchup against Ole Miss with John Rice Plumlee was a little bit difficult there for Shane Lee. And then the Auburn game, the Iron Bowl, and one play in particular for the Iron Bowl, if y'all remember, Auburn had pushed the ball to the red area, that got down, that moved the ball down inside the 10, inside the 5-yard line in the red zone. And Auburn comes out in the shotgun. They're going with this zone read keep play, and Bo Nix is reading the defensive end. I believe it's either Byron Young or Justin Aborigbe or Raekwon Davis. He's reading the defensive end, one of the defensive ends on this play. And as he's reading the end crashes down, and Bo Nix is able to pull the ball out of the belly of Jatavius Whitlow, and he's trying to come around the end. Now, on that play, Christian Harris was supposed to take the quarterback. He does not take the quarterback. He tries to come in too much inside. He gets maneuvered out of the play, but Shane Lee allows for himself to be blocked out of the play. As you can, if you watch this on film, Shane Lee blocked completely out of the play, not able to go in there and attack the football. So I brought up those three situations, or those few situations, to say that Dr. Matt Rhea, the main thing he did at IMG Academy as the head of sports science, and the main thing he did as the head athletics performance guy at Indiana, his baby, his brainchild was speed training, speed improvement, speed development. That's what he did. And he was an absolute genius at IMG from 2015 to 2016, as he was able to get about 9 to 10 guys to have a laser 40 time of under a 4.5 in the 40-yard dash. And at Indiana, he greatly improved the speed of all of those guys, whether they were skill players, defensive linemen, linebackers. The guys at Indiana, you notice from 2018 to this past year, the speed of those guys had greatly improved because of the analytics, the data, the teachings, but the types of stations that Matt Rhea was able to put those guys through in terms of speed. Now you put him with the Shane Lee, he is going to be able to greatly improve or maximize or make better the speed of Lee, so that he's not having to, or he's not slow. He's not having to really huff and puff to get after the quarterbacks or get after running backs. He will have the speed to eat up the field, take away the angle, make plays in getting toward the football, but not just the speed. When you look at David Ballou, his whole thing is strength training. His whole thing is making sure you have that power to shed, wipe away the hands of an offensive lineman and attack the ball. Not allow yourself to be blocked in, not allow those offensive linemen to get their hands on you and move you yards away from the play. When he sees an offensive lineman coming, Shane Lee's got to be able to take his hands, boom, swipe that offensive lineman away from him, still keep his eyes on the play, and get to the football. So I feel like, wow, Dylan Moses is very excited for these two to be back. I think Shane Lee will be the one that will greatly benefit from having David Ballou and having Dr. Matt Rhea here in the program. Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.